morning, everyone. Good to see you this morning. You should have a handout from the one we've been doing all along. If you don't, there were some on the back row back there. Are they gone? Are they gone? You see them? Thank you, ma'am. Sorry to. Thank you very much. We'll get started in just a couple minutes. Just a couple minutes. You have time to run downstairs and steal a muffin or coffee or.
Becky and I didn't think we suffered from anxiety until we started sitting in this class.
Didn't think you had anxiety until you studied in this class.
We're a mess.
You're welcome. He said, "Nah, we're a mess." No. At Hill Church, we aim to please, brother. We want to. Mark Lauer say, "I just want to be a blessing. I just want to." Now we're a mess. Praise God, you're a mess with a lot of other people, brother. And there's relief for being a mess, too. If someone doesn't mind, check on your Facebook feed. Let's make sure we have an audio feed, and then we'll start. If anybody has that, make sure people online can hear us. Sometimes the devil's in electronics. I'm live. Good. So hopefully if you turn that up, make sure you hear me. There's about a 2-minute delay, so we'll see. Live issue. Maybe so. We'll see. All right. Okay. It's black. Black screen. Okay. It is working on you? Okay. Thank you. Tara's got it. Let's see. All right. Good. I see you. Everybody can hear okay online? Good. Well, let's get started. If not, if you don't mind, someone says sometimes things just happen no matter what or how we try. And good to see you this morning. What I can see. What's up? What's up? Glad you're here. Anxiety, our friend. Anxiety is the word we use for when our brain thinks we might be in danger. So it sends out feel bad chemicals that says, are we safe? Are we safe? Are we in danger? Everything okay? So we have a physiological response. Our brain is a little anxious, and so our heart starts racing. We start holding our breath. Our chest feels kind of tight. We might start sweating. We get a little nauseous. Hyperventilate. We feel like we're getting ready to. And then the question is, that happens. Every human being, as long as you're not even just conscious, when you're asleep, you can do it. If you're alive, you have anxiety to some degree. Then the question is, what do we do with it? So that's what it feels like, and that's when the brain thinks there might be a risk. Another place where it comes from is when we have beliefs. Beliefs can make our brain send out an anxiety feeling. We have the exact same symptoms, shortness of breath and so forth. Then the question is, are we really in danger? So in both ways, the question is, are we really in danger? Is there a threat? When I hear that sound, is that an ambulance, or am I really in danger? Someone like to kill me. So as soon as we decide, we go back to normal. Basically, it takes a while for the adrenaline to calm down. If I believe I'm in danger, then I'm going to feel it. I go, is there really a bear? Is there really a monster in the closet? Oh, there's not? Okay. And the brain goes, chick, turn off. So the radar is still active. It just turns off. It takes a while for the juices to go and flow out of the body. It dissolves, it breaks up in your body, it does its thing. If you have that anxiety on for long periods of time, it's pumping out those negative feelings, epinephrine and adrenaline, for long periods of time. It's exhausting, makes you tired, makes you grumpy, makes you lose sleep and so forth. And so one thing, I'm not sure if I did a good enough job on paper. I think I've said it several times. I know I've said it several times because I've re-listened to the studies. But on paper, I should have put real clear. So on page 4, and there's handout still in the back row back there. When I say relief, I've said it many times. It's not relief from anxiety. It's relief from fearing anxiety. We have no reason to be afraid of anxiety. And people who have anxiety disorders, who struggle with it oftentimes, it's not because they have anxiety, it's because they're afraid of it. When you get afraid of anxiety, what happens is your, as it were, radar gets hypersensitive to it. It gets hypersensitive. So instead of just every once in a while going doot doot doot, now it's going doot 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 doot. It's just looking for danger all the time. So it's like a muscle or something that's been hyper. It's like I think of the gym, like when you get the pump and your muscles are really engorged with water and blood, and they're pumped up. It's like the sensor just ready to go. Well, people who struggle with anxiety, they go, "I hate this feeling." Well, no one likes it. I mean, I no wonder you hate it. But if you struggle with anxiety a lot, you don't just hate it, you hate having that intense feeling of anxiety. That's because your radar is so sensitive to the slightest bit of danger, it's hard for it to turn off. So you have an influx of these chemicals all the time. It's exhausting. So what happens is because it feels so uncomfortable, you develop a fear of it at all. So the slightest little needle change, the slightest little 5%, oh, here it comes again. It's the slightest bit that can freak you out because you've, say, a 0 to 10. People who struggle with anxiety might struggle with it without 7, 8, 9, 10 all the time. So when it goes from 1 to 2, it feels like it went from 1 to 7 because you get so tired of it and so scared of it. And so my hope and goal in this study is to help you teach what anxiety really is, so you don't have to be scared of it. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to harm you. Not only should you not be scared of it, healthy people fully embrace anxiety. I want it because it helps me stay safe. I want it. I want it. I was thinking the other day there was a radar going off. Now I remember exactly what it was. But just the other day I thought, what a good analogy. But it was just this loud, it was a loud beep, beep, beep. It was just us annoying. I thought, oh my goodness. I thought, but see, I want that beep because that beep lets me know something might be in danger. And I don't want to hear it. I don't like the feelings I get when I hear it, but I'm glad it's going off. We have to separate those two. I'm glad it's going off is true. And it's also true, I don't like hearing that beep. I like that we have an anxiety mechanism that God designed us so that we know whether or not we're in danger. That's a good thing. But I don't like the sensation of anxiety. But just because I don't like the sensation of anxiety doesn't mean I need to be scared of it. And it doesn't mean I need to avoid it and avoid the confrontation and avoid the conflict and avoid that phone call and avoid that text and avoid that person and avoid that job and avoid. That teaches that we really are in danger just because we don't like a feeling of anxiety. It's just a sensation that we'll go through. So the relief is not relief from anxiety. The only way to get the relief from anxiety is to die, and I don't want you to die. I don't want that to happen. The relief I'm talking about is being afraid of anxiety. And secondly, that hypersensitive radar. You can desensitize your radar in a healthy way. And does that make sense what I'm saying to you? I want to pause there. Is there any question or comment about what I'm saying? Okay. So very briefly, and review it, relief, there's ways to do like the kill switch to help your body, the physiological response to calm down, it's called hyperarousal, for that to calm down, for the radar to turn off. Even though it's going to be in your body for a little bit, there's certain things you can do to help, kind of like a kill switch. Turn it off. You know what a kill switch is if something's going emergency? So like deep breathing, having appropriate exercise, regular good sleep, healthy food, minimal medications. If you can get them, it's fantastic. Healthy relationships, and never, ever, ever seek to dull your radar or get rid of your radar by doing things like drugs, alcohol, sex, buying a lot of stuff, and so forth. You are not relieving anxiety. You are making the anxiety worse because you're teaching yourself to be afraid of it. I feel nervous. I got to get a beer on the way home. I'm so stressed. And you have taught, go. You've taught your brain that stress is danger. And to get the edge off, you had to get alcohol. So you've taught yourself, once again, you've reinforced an unhealthy belief, a false belief. And that false belief is, I need to be afraid of anxiety. No, you don't. No, you don't. You just don't need to be afraid of it. It will go out of your body if you'll let it. And so healthy people accept it and allow it, and they practice appropriate disciplines to make sure they're not scared of it. The other areas come the mind. The mind is how I like to think about how to get the fire out in the first place, as it were. And that's why I finished last week, is to say we want to recognize there are beliefs that we have. Journaling can do this, but if you're not good at all about this, you probably do need a counselor to help you think this through. And so I wrote down here exactly what I do and how I train people. I feel anxious when blank happens. That's usually the easiest thing to nail. I do feel anxious. I feel heart racing, a little nervous, and so forth when this happens. Two, well, I feel anxious because I'm afraid of. And in my experience, every time I've ever done counseling, they go, oh, I'm not afraid of that. I go, what are you afraid of? Nothing. Which tells me, frankly, they have unawareness. They're not aware that anxiety is the manifestation of fear. That's a survival mechanism. Yes, you are afraid of something. The reason why they don't think they're afraid, is because they feel ashamed to be afraid. So a lot of work of mine is trying to help them say, you don't have to feel ashamed because you have fear. Yeah, you're right. I know I don't. If you knew that, I believe you might know, but you don't believe it. If you believe that, you would not be scared at all to talk about a fear that you have. And I guarantee you, if you in this room have a fear of shame, of being afraid, or whatever, I guarantee at some level your parent taught you, or you started believing that you should not be needy. It's bad to be needy. It's bad to be weak. It's bad to be sad or need mom or daddy. They fussed at you when you had needs. They told you to suck it up, cowgirl, and you learned the false belief that being weak or having needs at all is a bad thing, and you just bad. And so a little kid, and you just like, it didn't make the need go away. It just made you feel badly for having it, and that was nonsense. You should never have been taught that. Nevertheless, if you can get past that, if you can, and counseling might help you here. When you can finally start acknowledging, I am anxious because I am afraid of, when you can do that, you're on your way to healing road. you're on the road. I'm afraid of blank. No matter how silly it might sound, how unchristian it might sound, it doesn't matter. It's in you. So you're trying to get that out. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid that spider's going to jump up and eat my head. That just sounds so stupid. Before you judge yourself, can we at least pause for a moment and make sure we understand the belief, the fear? You are afraid? Yeah. Okay. Why are you afraid like that? Where'd that belief come from? Before we start judging everything comes out of your mouth, because I'm not judging you. I know you're used to doing it to yourself, but that's another counseling issue. So what is it? And then, well, why is that? Now that might be the first question, might be your belief. But usually it's not. Usually you have to know another one. Okay, well then why does that, what's at stake there? And where does that come from? You're going all the way to the bottom at some what we usually call core belief. And that core belief is exactly what's going on. And these beliefs, that's what causes anxiety. Once you get that, I'm gonna do a case in point here in just a moment. I'm gonna go through this, and then I want to show you we'll do a live demonstration. So that's what you do. Then once you have that belief, and this is so powerful, once that under the iceberg comes on top of it, as it were, the water, then what you want to do is write it down, compose it, because that's gold. See that as a precious gift to yourself. A precious gift. I finally see, I understand that is what I believe. Before I judge it, before I tell it to shut up and go away, there's my pen. Before I do that, oh Lordy, ask yourself, is that belief true? And the key is all the time. Well, it depends. No, is it true? You said you were afraid that, you said your belief, when you finally got to the bottom of it, you said you believe people are going to hurt you. Is it true that all people at all time are going to hurt you? And usually what happens at this point, they either go, well, no, they'll get it. If they can't get it, and especially from my perspective, if I know that's certainly false, all people all the time won't hurt you. I know that because I'm in the adult ego state, and I have a perspective they don't have. If they can't see it, then I'm going to say, let me ask you this question. Do you have anybody in your life you love, like a child or a grandchild? Anybody at all? And the answer always is, yeah, niece, nephew, someone. Yep, good. Would you teach them to believe what you just told me? And all of the time so far, the first thing out of my mouth is, no, I would never teach. You wouldn't. Why not? Why wouldn't you teach them every single person from Chicago will rob you? That's what you believe. And there's a pause. Why wouldn't you teach them to believe that, but you do believe it? Why is it okay for you, but not them? And they've never considered that entire lives. That's the difficulty of getting beliefs out. And it's because they have believed it for so long. Somewhere along the line, some caretaker taught them that. and it feels normal to them. And so then my job, and I tell this to people when I counsel, my job, part of my job I'm counseling, is I'm the false belief police. I'm there to go, no, that's false nonsense. I'm not false. That's a false belief. And so whoever told you that is wrong. That's wrong. If it's true, praise God. You write your journal out. True. Woo. If it's false, you write false. Underline, underline, and read it over and over and over. Beside it, you put the true belief. And sometimes a true belief is simply nuance. That's fine. Sometimes people might hurt me. That's true. Yep. Yep. Yeah. So what are you going to do about that? Go live in a cave? A deserted island? Some of you say, yes, that's what I'll do. You could do that. Do you think that's the healthiest option? Yeah, because people can't be trusted. So we're back to that again. Let me ask you this question. Would you teach your son to go live on a deserted island the first time he thinks that? No, that'd be silly. I agree. I think that is silly. I think you don't have to live on a deserted island. So what's the true belief? People can fail me. Well, if they can fail me, then what would happen if I fail me? What happened? Because you're addressing that fear again. Here's exactly what you say to yourself every single time. I'm going to save you years of heartache by what I'm about to tell you. You're welcome. Years and years of heartache that no one told me until I was an old man. Because what people want to do when they deal with this fear and anxiety and want to control everything around them and all the people around them and all the events around them, and that's my row, and that's my chair, and that's my parking spot, and that's my pastor, and that's my song, and that's my this. They want to control everything around them so they don't have to feel anxiety. That's exactly what you should not do. That's exactly what unhealthy people do. What healthy people do, instead of all figuring out how they should say this and do this to the people to make everybody happy, what they should say to themselves immediately is, I can handle it. Well, what if, say it with me, I can handle it. I don't believe you. But what if they get mad at me? I can handle it. But what if the job doesn't work out? I can handle it. But what if I don't know that song and I don't like it at church? I can handle it. Sing anyway, sister. But I can handle it. Later on, I'm going to change it up a little bit on purpose. When we get to the wounded child, I'm going to say, I like to say this too, we can handle it. We can handle it. But they, yeah, keep telling me all the but. Keep telling me. Let's listen. Yeah. But remember the past? But what if I can handle it. We'll deal with that. You think, yeah, we can handle that. Let's stop trying to control anybody else in the universe and instead try to control our own self by saying, I can handle that, but I won't like it. I agree. Sometimes we have to do things we don't like, isn't that right? But I can handle not liking something and still doing it. So you want this process is where it's all at. Figure out the beliefs you have. If they're true, keep them. If they're false, you have to negate them. And that's step number 3. You have to constantly, emphatically repeat the true belief. Every single time you feel anxious of that same object, that same event, the same circumstance, you must repeat the process and emphatically say the true belief. No, that's false. The true belief is, no, that's false. The true belief is. Over the years, what I've done personally is I have written down what I like to do is when I do my journal work and do my false true beliefs, I will keep the true beliefs, the ones that really resonate with me, that go, yeah, that's good stuff. It's hard to hear, or maybe I don't fully believe it yet. No, okay, but I know it's true. This is the stuff I would teach my kids. I keep that in another document, and I print it out. And it's gone through various iterations in my life. I've had it in a wallet insert. I've had it, I've got one printout right now on my desk. It's pretty old, though. I have a list on my phone right now. I used to have a list I put when I worked at a restaurant inside my little thing, insert so I could read it. I used to have one on I put them different places. I put them in my car window. I put them on mirror. So I constantly put them near a toilet. What else are you going to do? I put it on the wall, right in front of the toilet. That's much better than a phone. Unless I'm reading the Bible or something. So I repeat these true beliefs all the time. What's interesting to me is I look back on some of these old lists and I go, man, I don't struggle at all with that anymore. That was a big deal back when I wrote that, though. That's called That's progress. That's healing. That's growth. So my lists have changed over time because I've discovered more and more false beliefs in me. I still keep discovering more. God keeps revealing more of who I am. I go, did you know you believe that? No. I didn't know that well, I'll go for a long time. I mean, I'll tell you, maybe afterwards if you want. I mean, I've discovered numerous beliefs about myself. The older I get, the more life circumstances I go through, the more events I go through, I realize, man, I do have that belief in me. Man, all right, now what do I do about it? Oh, I'm so shameful. No, I go back to work. Bring in that journal, son. Let's do this. Okay, what am I anxious of? What am I afraid? Do. I'm too old to be anxious all the time about false beliefs. I want to get past all that. I want to believe true beliefs. And I don't want to be scared of anxiety anymore. I don't want to be. There's no sense to be. And the last thing, real quickly, is on top of page 5, behavior. Behavior. Once you've determined that you are not in actual danger, this is save your life. Deliberately do it. If you really are safe, deliberately do it. Lean in, run toward. I love one of my therapist friend told me, I love it. He said, his expression is, bring it. Bring it. That has helped me so. Bring it. I can't make the phone. Bring it. Let's do this. Flip that switch. Do not avoid the object or the event at all. Deliberately don't avoid it. That is, you might accidentally. I don't like that person. First off, that you need to check your heart. You need to check if you're a Christian and that's your disposition toward anybody, you need to check your heart. Secondly, if they're a real threat to you, don't get near them. But if they're not a real threat to you, stop avoiding them at Walmart. Stop avoiding them at the parking lot. Stop avoiding them at family reunions. Don't do that because you're teaching yourself that person's a danger to you. I tell this to you all the time when it comes to the gym. If you give yourself a few minutes, you can find any reason why not to go. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Any reason. And what's worse than that is church. I'll start preaching. I got the sniffles. I'm not going. The more you give your chance a way to avoid it, you'll do it. So if you don't do that, don't do the whole, yeah, but, if you just get to it, you'll just overcome it. And all of a sudden that anxiety you used to feel, it goes away. Instead of going, I'm tired, well, I don't even know what to do exercise, whatever your issue might be. I don't know how to read the Bible. No one trained me, but I'm tired, I'm too sleepy. By the time you have 15 excuses, you've stopped. And you've taught yourself, I should be afraid of reading the Bible, and you shouldn't be afraid of that. There's no reason to be afraid of it. So what I do is once I know I am safe, I'm not in actual danger, I deliberately train myself. I'm not waiting. I'm scared to make this phone call. Pick up the phone and call them. Oh, what are they going to say? Text them. Did I say it perfectly? No, let's edit it 14 more times, just in case I might offend them. No, send. Drop your computer. Bam. Once you've determined you're not in danger, deliberately do it. Deliberately do it. Deliberately do it. You might need help with this. I fully grasp that. Some of you have serious, serious phobias of certain people, situations, past trauma. Like, I can't go there, I can't go there, I can't go there. I understand that, and I respect that. You might need a therapist to help you gently, safely get you to a place where you can, in fact, be re-exposed to something that causes you to feel terrible, seemingly overwhelming anxiety and the trauma. I understand. That's fine. That's fine, and that's good. But nevertheless, you're still working with a therapist, trying your best to deliberately not be afraid of that thing. So sometimes as simple as a dirty bathroom, I can go do it. Sometimes it's not a simple thing like dirty bathroom. So I'm not telling you the process. I'm just saying at minimum, make up your mind to say, I'm not going to think of all the reasons to be afraid of it if I know I'm not actually in danger. If I'm not actually in danger, then I'm not going to act like I am. And then if the choice is amoral or moral, so that's what I already said. So amoral means there's no morality. Do I use a pen or pencil? Pen or pencil? I don't know what to do. I don't, Michelle, help me. Or if it's moral, don't give yourself time to think about it. Just do it, right? Just do it. And the longer you linger, the longer your brain has time to be afraid. So I've learned that to be absolutely true in my life. There are times I get afraid of, I've got a few books I'm writing on, typing on, and I'll get afraid of typing on it. My anxiety goes up. And I ponder, what am I anxious of? I know what my fears are. I know what my beliefs are. And I'll know, and I go, oh, that's what it is. But I've learned the more I go, yeah, but no one's going to read it. No one cares, and this is stupid. And if I just start typing, those things don't even come up as you get to typing. It's great. I tell my wife that every time she doesn't want to cook, I say, hey, if you'll just get to work. I don't tell her that. She's so sweet. I'm going to pause there right now. Who would like to, Carl volunteer this, you might want to, not to. You might like to, on the spot, let's work on a couple beliefs with you. We have a little bit of time. Who would like any help with maybe there's a belief or maybe so bottom on page 4. Yes.
I'm not scared. I do not like rodents.
Rodents. So you're scared of rodents.
Well, my grandson's got a little mouse. It's a little mouse, okay?
Okay.
And he
Yeah.
likes to kind of, Nana, he's a mouse.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like that. I don't want the thing on me. You know, why is that?
Okay, so you're scared. I'm getting closer so hopefully the microphone can hear you. So I don't like rodents. Don't get near me. Why is that? What are you afraid? You just said I'm not scared though. See, you started the whole thing out with I'm not scared.
I'm not afraid he's going to bite me or hurt me or
Okay.
anything like that. I just don't want to touch it.
Then why are you afraid of touching it?
I don't know.
Okay, well when you figure that out, let me know.
Okay.
There's your belief.
Figured that out. Yeah. I'm afraid.
What are you afraid of it touching you for? What might happen?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll try it out when I get home.
Yeah. If I were you, yeah, find the nearest, dirtiest rat you can. I'm kidding.
No,
Just find.
no rat.
So there are all kinds of reasons why some things just seem to be an irrational fear, kind of like an allergy. The brain just decides that pollen is bad for me, so now I got to have a massive reaction. There's no real reason the brain did whatever it does. It's possible that it could just be a simple irrational fear, just a simple whatever it is. It's also possible that sometime in your childhood, something that was furry hurt you.
Could be.
Yeah, and that you now associate furry things with pain. So again, because oftentimes most of our beliefs come from early childhood, it can be difficult to figure out where in the world did that come from. Though it might come from childhood, it doesn't mean you can recall where it came from. It might have been when you were 4 months old, but it came from something early on. Someone shoved something in your face one time that was furry and it scared you, and for the rest, I mean, we don't know for sure. So it's worth exploring. That's one thing. That's how to get the fire never started in the first place. But get the fire out. That is. But right now I'm feeling it. Then I would practice some desensitization. I would get deep breaths. I would let the thing come. Don't let them throw it at you. Nothing. Seriously, nothing that actually that would increase this fear of it. Just something you yourself go toward it in your own pace. Look at it from a distance. Take deep breaths. It's just a stuffed animal. It's not going to hurt me. You say these things. Stuffed animal.
He don't have it in his hand. I know he's got it. You know, I think, and then
Well, good. So
he's playing with it.
good.
I know that.
He's playing with you. You got your tissue. So anyway, what I'm saying is you can find yourself now you're in his tissue. There you go. He knows how to get you. But on your own, that way there's no one. The point is, if you take that seriously, sometimes it's good to laugh about it. But don't want someone come behind you going boo. We don't want any. You not have a heart attack. She might fall on the ground. So the goal is to put it out somewhere and look at it and really to have a good debriefing. And then maybe afterwards we can talk about. But reassuring yourself it's a stuffed animal. And matter of fact, I would flip it. Bring it. I like stuffed animals. I like the fur. I like that. I can't wait to touch that fur. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to touch. And you start, well, no, I'm excited. You say it over and over and over again. And something I didn't tell you about is stop therapy. Maybe we do. Anybody else want to have something that's a little more? Yes, sir.
So, could you speak about financial insecurity and that kind of thing? So, the way I used to be is
Would you mind coming on stage so they can hear on the microphone? I have a little microphone grab, but it's easier if he'll love. We're friends here. We're safe.
so the way I used to be is when I had just $20 in my pocket, I would give you my last $20. Now that we are acquiring assets and things like that, I'm a little more hesitant to give. And where does that come from, and what fear is that? And I do think I trust the Lord as far as my bare gratefuls every
Sure.
morning. Food, shelter, clothing,
Sure, sure.
swimming pools, and things like that.
Absolutely.
Just like the base.
Gucci's.
Yeah, Gucci shoes.
Basic needs.
Just the base level. But where does that fear come from? I mean, we obviously have enough, but yet I'm more hesitant to give than I was when I didn't have anything to give.
Well, as usual, I suspect I know, but let's ask you. Okay, so no, come here. So, all right, so let's go. So I feel anxious when.
Like I'm put in a situation where I have to measure how much I have versus how much I should give.
Okay, because I'm afraid that if I don't figure that out,
That I won't have enough. Suddenly my family doesn't have enough, right? Which is obviously ridiculous.
no judgment.
No judgment.
So I'm afraid that my family won't have enough. I'm afraid if that happens, then
lose your house, you just lose all these irrational fears. Lose
okay,
your
you're judging it.
cars.
All right,
Yeah,
so
very judging. Yeah.
all right, so you might lose
Yeah, lose what you have.
what you have. And if I lose what I have, then that would mean
I wouldn't have anything.
if I don't have anything at all.
I'd just be on the street.
Okay, if I'm on the street, that would be bad because
I'd have to live with David.
I had to live with David. That's the worst. There's your core belief. There's your core fear. If I live on the streets, I'm in danger there because
I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to provide for my family. I wouldn't have, comforts.
comfort.
I'd be very uncomfortable.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. Really?
Yeah.
What's that? Afraid to be uncomfortable.
I think she
Yeah.
should get up here too.
That's
That sounds like
that's what I believe too.
Yeah.
Physical marriage therapy. We do this around the heart. Yeah, good. So good. So so at its core, probably to reframe it a little bit, but I'm not putting words in your mouth. But probably then at its core, then at the very bottom is would you feel more safe or more in danger if you're on the streets?
In danger.
Yeah, you'd be in danger. I mean, you'd feel that way.
Yeah.
The anxiety is I'm in danger. The belief is I'm in danger if I don't have my stuff.
Yeah. Well, and the weirdest thing is, like, when I had nothing, that was like some of the most serene time I've had.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't even have to think about it
Mm-hmm.
when I had nothing, Like, it was just move on to the next thing. I don't have anything. Go on.
But in that state of life,
I don't know.
in that state of life, you weren't the person you are right now,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, that was quite a while ago.
right?
Yeah.
But you were doing other things that you've stopped.
Yeah. Well, and that was even in, like, early sobriety when,
Gotcha.
you're rebuilding, paying debts and things like that.
Yeah.
But it was easy.
Well, and we can maybe sometime talk about that too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and that's good. But at core, then I feel in danger if I don't have my stuff. So wherever it came from, whether it came up like 6 months ago or after sobriety into whatever it is, at some point you started believing if I don't have my stuff, I'm in danger.
Or a certain number in your account.
Okay.
Or
A certain number.
whatever that. Yeah, it's a strange thing.
Okay, stop judging. So if I stop, I'm police on this. So if you say that's the belief, though, the belief is I'm afraid that, or I believe that if I don't have my stuff in a certain number, I am in danger. So that's exactly what I would compose in your journal. Now the question is that true or false?
False.
It is false. It is false. Now before you, of course, it is. My point is, there's a part of you, your child ego state, that believes it's true. So what we do is write that out, and then we true it. So what's the true belief? So what would be a replacement true belief?
Yeah.
Versus that. Sure. Before the true belief. So think about a true belief. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Probably less so.
Yeah. If you had it's online, if you had a family and were single, would he feel as much danger? Right. And that's part of my thing was things were different back then. Right. He had a different situation going on. That's why it's not apples to apples.
Yeah, now in somewhat I measure the person that I am with how well we're doing, how well off we are, because growing up with less than, it was like, you didn't feel as good because we weren't as good as
Yep.
X, Y, and Z,
Yep.
and that kind of thing. So that's that child, that's got to be the child belief.
So that's another belief you have that's
Yeah.
driving the anxiety. What would that belief? If you put that in a sentence, because I believe that.
But I believe that, the more stuff we have, the more money we have, the better people we will be.
More people will be. Is that true or false?
That's got to be false.
It is false. Because would you teach your precious Hannah that? I'm kidding. I'm just right. It's got to be false because it is false. And this is where we don't, in my opinion, I don't want to throw a bunch of Bible verses at you because then I don't want to induce guilt. But it's true what you said earlier, of course, is that I know that I can trust God. I believe that you know that. But I believe that knowledge is not countering the belief. And the way to do that is to what you just did. Get the belief out on paper or say, that is what I believe. Then the next step is, the true belief is, instead of I'm in danger, I don't have stuff in a certain number, and I'm not valuable unless I have a certain number, what would be the true belief?
I'm valuable regardless of the number
And why are you valuable?
because I am God's child.
That's exactly right. I'm valuable because I'm God's child, period. There's nothing after that.
Yeah.
There's nothing after that. So, okay, what's another true belief? What about the value stuff from relatives, neighbors and whatnot? So instead of I matter when I have a bunch of stuff,
Yeah, I matter regardless.
All right, regardless. Okay, what about the safety issue?
I will. God will take care of me. I'm safe.
I am safe.
Yeah.
And let's think through it. So now let's talk. So I am safe because God will take care of me as much as He wants to take care of me. Then the question is, so think of a realistic, probable thing. If I probably lost all my stuff, would I probably be living on the streets?
I probably would not.
Probably would not be living on the streets. And you could, we don't have to tell right now, but you could list probably several names of families who would instantaneously brought you in,
True.
right? And that's a true belief. Like I would not, in probability, I would not be on the street. I would not be in danger, and that's the key. And so then the key is, so there's you got your false and your true, and I would repeat that over. So I mean, for a long time, I would go back and read. That is what I used to believe. That's what I want to believe. So I'm in this transition. Then every single time the anxiety comes up with money again, you don't replay the whole thing. You go straight to the true belief. You go straight, and that is, I am safe. If I even got that bad, I would have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
You go straight to that true belief. You don't go, well, it depends on the economy, because that's not your problem, right? Because your belief wasn't the economy. That's not your struggle. That's not the fear. The fear is what you just told me, and that's where the belief is. So we want to counter that fault, because that's what's causing the anxiety. It's like a chain reaction, not like it is. And we go straight to the true belief. And so on the value stuff, as soon as you start feeling a little bit of, I'm unworthy, or I feel guilty for not, if I don't have more, as soon as that feeling comes up and the belief comes up, you counter it right away. Nope, nope, nope. That's not true. So let's practice a stop therapy that'll help when the false belief wants to be nagging. It wants to nag. So what's an example of a thought you might have about either the value or if I go on the streets, either one? What's something you might say to yourself? This might be difficult to articulate.
Like a situation.
Yeah,
Let's say
that's full
like,
of anxiety.
say, it's X, Y, and Z charity is looking for money.
Okay.
Because there's always a GoFundMe. There's always some
Yeah.
kind of fundraiser.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you give them money, and how do you weigh that? How do you evaluate that? And
So what are you saying on the inside? Is it a I can't give it more? What if I run out? What would you be saying on the inside?
yeah, so it's like, have we donated anything recently? Do we have enough in the account to where we can give 50, 100? And I kind of evaluate that, but it gives you anxiety because it's like, do I give to all of them? Some of them, so the anxiety comes up where it's like, how much is enough? How much should I be giving? How much have I done enough, kind of thing.
Okay, so have I done enough is also a way of saying I should have done more, or perhaps I'm failing somehow because I should be giving more. That's like the belief way of saying it versus the question way of saying it. But anyway, so let's say for example in that particular instance you said, "Am I doing enough? I'm probably not doing enough. I need to give more." And the anxiety, the child might be saying, "We're going to run out of money." Does that resonate or not? I'm going to run out of money. What if we run out of money?
Yeah, we don't have enough because we have our own goals and our own.
We don't have enough. We don't have enough.
Yeah.
So that's another example of a false belief. We don't have enough. We don't have enough. We're going to run out. We're going to have a false belief. So in that, what we want to stop those false beliefs before they get to the period. And so I'm going to be you when you're being healthy and rational, and you're going to be you when you're well, I'll say child ego state, when you're building a false belief, when you're saying we're going to run out. So I'm going to deliberately interrupt you, but this is how it's supposed to go in your mind and heart. So go ahead and start saying your statement that's false.
I don't think
Stop.
we don't have enough
Stop.
money. Yeah.
Stop.
that's-
Stop.
Right.
Stop.
Right.
Stop. That's exactly what you do to inside.
Yeah.
That's called. You want it not to get to the period. You want to not finish that. Your brain wants to finish it. That's why you loop a song in your head until you finally hear it, because it wants to finish the song. And it wants to finish beliefs as well, whether they're true or false, because it doesn't know the difference. And so it wants to finish. You have to stop, stop, stop. I've said stop 23 times in a row sometimes. I refuse to let the false belief finish in my head. And as soon as there's this, I picture sometimes a little petulant child going, like no matter how much I try. And then as soon as he gets quiet, I say the true belief. But you got to stop it. If you let him finish and then finish and finish over and over and over and then finally get to it, that's better than nothing. It feels less powerful. You're like, well, yeah, but no. So the more and more you can stop it as soon as it comes out. Now that becomes so much easier when you've done your work of putting it on paper to realize, that is what I tend to think or tend to believe about something. And so that's what's going on. Another quick tip is, and they don't have to, but if you have a spouse or a good friend, they can be very helpful here. They don't have to because they're not your therapist, they're not your Lord Jesus. They're not supposed to be. But if they can be, it's very gracious of them and kind of them to say, if you go up and say, for example, I'm feeling anxious right now because I'm having that false belief again that we might run out of money and we'll be on the streets and in danger. Now, that's what you would say to God when you're praying, and God's going to say, "Thank you for telling me again, because I hear you and I love you and I'm with you and you can trust me and give me the true belief." But if Hannah hears you say that, ideally, she might look at you and go, "Thank you so much for telling me that. You're not in danger. You're not in danger. We're safe. We have plenty and we'll always have plenty. And no matter what we have, we can handle it. We can handle it. I'm with you. I'm not going anywhere. And I'd rather be on the street with you than have all this stuff. But that's not a real danger anyway, because it won't happen. But we can handle whatever happens." And as much as you can hear that, listen to that. And then vice versa at the same time, whatever her fears are. That would she's addressing the true belief. Does that make sense what I'm saying? But you don't have to do that, because I'm serious about it. I mean, you don't have a moral responsibility. If he gets mad at you, "Why didn't you tell me we can handle that stuff?" Then there's something wrong with him. That is, he shouldn't be expecting that from you. But if you do it, it's a really great blessing.
Every time I think that negative thought, I should have to give her $10 for Dunkin' Donuts.
You-
I guarantee I will.
You guarantee you won't say one more word
Be thinking that.
for Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
Well,
she's got a little problem.
she got a little. Just her.
Yeah,
Thank you, brother. God bless. Good job, man. Good job. Good job. Good job. I too struggle sometimes with that belief. When I grew up, Brandon knows my story. There were several years in my life where we were really, really poor, food stamps and stuff. And to this day, and I've gotten so much better. Oh my goodness! But I'm still, if I have to spend money I did not expect to spend, and that's why I finally learned out what it is. It's when someone says a bill comes in, you owe $500, or the taxes come in, you owe $5,000, and I didn't know it was coming. Oh, my anxiety, Scott! Because I remember when you don't have money, the slightest little bit, the slightest $20 you did not expect that you had to pay, you don't turn the lights on. Like it feels like life and death is at stake. And so even to this day, if there's a meal I have to go pay for, and Elaine's like, "Let's take all the kids and their friends, everybody wants to go," and it costs $100, I have to take deep breaths, because if I'm not emotionally prepared for it, I mean, my anxiety. But again, my anxiety used to go about a 10. Now it goes to about a 4 or 5. So I've healed so much based on my false beliefs. So money can do that, because it's not money. Money represents survival to everybody. It always represents survival. And I guarantee you, at some core, most people like to hoard, or they feel this deep compulsion to own more and get more and rich, rich, rich. I bet you $1 billion I can go to the court and say they've got a scared little child on the inside that thinks they're going to be broke and they're in danger if they don't have more. And so they're compensating. They're overcompensating for that fear they have. I'm going to get so rich. I'm going to get so far removed from that fear that I know I really still have in me. Oprah Winfrey asked Will Smith way before he punched people, slapped people. She said, "You're very wealthy now, or something, right?" He goes, "Yeah, you're worth." It was tens or 20 millions of dollars. This was years ago. He said, "Yeah," and she said, "But you don't ever get." They were talking about this conversation. "But you don't ever get scared anymore, right? Like of money, you're not going to scare you're going to lose anymore, right?" And she goes, "Yeah, I do." She said, "You do?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Oprah, not everybody has what you have." And I thought that's true. And they all laughed, ha ha. I thought it was true. It's not the amount. It's not the amount. She's so accustomed to believing she has so much money. It's not a fear of hers, but not for him. And that's why people can be filthy rich and be terrified they'll lose it all. I've known people who are poor who worship money. I've known rich people who worship money. The amount is irrelevant. It's based on the belief that they've got to have it to make it. Instead of saying, "I can handle that, God's going to take care of me." No, no, no. I've got to control my income, control my savings account. Then I'll feel safe. That's all you're doing, is trying to control your external world before you feel safe. That's what you should not do. You should say, "No, I can handle this. God's not abandoned me. He'll take care of me." Not, "I can control the stock market," or "I need to be loaded rich." No, I guarantee it. We've got a few minutes left. Any questions or comments about that? I want to do one more with y'all, but we only have a few minutes. Any other question or comments? Don't be afraid, little ones. Any questions come up about this belief stuff? Carl, did you want to add anything before about this issue? We've been working about this lately. You're sweating through your shirt? Okay, so I won't make you comment here. Yes.
I have already mentioned that I had a terrible fear of trains when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I got over that fear was I started riding trains
So he was very afraid of trains, and he started riding the trains, and then you started feeling better. Yeah, it's great. That's a kind of desensitization. You said, just go do it. Once you decide, I'm not really trains aren't killing me. They won't kill me. Well, they're risky. Well, so is any travel. That can, yeah, then go live in a cave. But there's not extra probability. I'm on a train, so go do it. That's good. I'll say this last thing before we wrap, if that's okay, and that is to encourage you. It can be difficult to find out what your beliefs are. It can be difficult. One more time, I'll say this: it can be, because that's why sometimes a good therapist can help you get to the root of that, and that's okay if it's difficult. It's just normal. Two, it can be very difficult to change a belief. So that's where Carl's saying amen back there. So when I find myself in counseling with people often, I say Carl because Carl told me, he came to me, I did not solicit it. He said, if you ever want to use me in the study, use me. And I said, I will, but not. But he'd be happy to, I'm sure, chat with you about it as well. But when I counsel different people, it's very common, weeks or months later, to still be dealing with the same beliefs I addressed on week one. When they say, well, it's because I blah, blah, I go, why is that? They go, and we do the whole thing. What, and then finally they go, oh, that one again? Or, oh, we covered it. Yes, we did cover that. I know, no, don't beat yourself up. It just means it's still in you. So let's address that. But what happens is people get better at noticing the false belief. They start believing that is what I'm doing. So that takes time. So what you don't want to do is beat yourself up. What you do want to do is give yourself grace. You want to give yourself grace to say, you know what, it took I have been believing this for many, many, many moons, many years. It's going to take a while to disabuse myself, and that's okay. If it's minor, sometimes it'll take long, fuzzy things, maybe that can be quick. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes really deep-rooted things like I'm afraid of men because I was molested, and it might take a long time to stop being afraid of them. So it depends. So give yourself grace. It can take a long time, but it can happen. I'm living proof of it. I'm telling you. Well, you're David. No, I'm just David. I'm telling you, it's hard work, but it works. So let me say a prayer for us as we wrap up. And we do thank you, Jesus, again, to think about these things and know that you are the great physician. I'm so thankful that you're a good, loving Heavenly Father who wants to rescue us from irrational and false fears. I'm glad about that. I'm glad because you're not a distant, oblivious God. You're not a mean old meanie God. You're a loving Heavenly Father who runs after the prodigal son. Help us, Holy Spirit, this morning continue to reveal to us who we are and, of course, who we are in you. Please remind us every time we get anxious, no matter what it is, that by your empowerment and your ability that we can handle it. It's your battle to fight.